They know they can just outweigh you.
I
Go-to.
I tend to just pick on somebody.
All right, do it.
Dear Lord, thank you for having us all meet together, and it's nice to have some good weather for once. And help us to have a good class and with the rest of life. And I hope that we have good days like this coming up in our lives.
Amen. So last week you got off easy with the snow day. What'd you do? Did you do anything fun?
No.
None of you did anything fun? Wow, how awesome.
Yeah. I don't have Netflix.
That's
not
nice.
That's because you didn't clean your room. No, my mom will give it to me.
Get along. So, who's ready for confirmation? Who wants to be ready for confirmation? Good to go? Got your essay all in and ready to read in front of the congregation? Feel good about it? No?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Pastor Mark will work with you on it if you'd like some help. Will that help you tonight for him to work with you on it? I'm sure he would do that with you. That would help you. Anyone else need some help or want some help? You're welcome to.
Yeah, I was going to talk with them about it. We can either do it now or we can do it at the end, or
Go ahead and take now. Let's get out of the way.
if you've turned in your essay to me, and I think I've talked to everybody that you said you're happy with it, you need to start practice reading it. Okay? Reading it out loud in here. If you are not sharing it with your parents until you do it at the time, that's fine. My suggestion is you read it out loud, read it to yourself while you're standing in front of a mirror, and then find a friend, somebody in this class, and read it in front of them. Or just to have the time to practice reading it in front of people, okay, going in. When we get back next week, you are going to Joseph, right? Okay. Your next class with me will be the 25th. What we will do on the 25th is we're going to read two things. We're, number one, going to walk through the sharing of faith, so you will all know exactly what's going to happen at the time. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to walk you through the confirmation service, so you'll know exactly what's going to happen before we get there. Okay? Now I'm going to throw this out at you. We've got to have some sort of order in here. I have 3 methods of doing an order on who's going to read first, second, and third. All right? Alexa's got her eyes about this figure out. In here. I can pick somebody, I can pick the order. You guys can volunteer for the order, or we can draw the order at random. Anybody have any?
Random. Yeah,
Random? Okay. All right. Guess what you guys are going to do the 25th? Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Anything else?
That's it at this point.
Unfortunately, I will not be here for your confirmation. I'm super bummed about that, but one of our commitments as a church was to support African missionaries, and they have asked me to come with a team of people to lead a retreat over Holy Week. So I'm actually leaving next Saturday for Zambia. You know where Zambia is? It's near South Africa. It's just north of South Africa. So I will be gone, but I'll record a little secret message for you. You'll get the great joy of watching my melon on the big screen talking to you. Yeah? Anything I should say specifically? Think there's anything I should say specifically? Any of you? I was kidding. I was waiting for you to say, you should really talk to her. That's good. Yeah? So I'm sorry about that, but I'm excited. Part of the good news about confirmation is you're done with this process, but you're far from done. Right? Do you understand that? That this is a lifelong process of wrestling with what does it mean to be a child of God, and what does it mean to follow what He says, and what does it mean to wrestle with how that all works. So tonight, we decided to give you an opportunity to chat with these three lovely individuals who have been through this process and have lived to tell about it and live on the other side of it now as high school students, which is your next chapter. I mean, you have 8th grade snuck in there too, but then high school, right? And so we wanted to give them a chance to kind of talk to you about what does faith look like on the high school side, and to give you a chance to ask them some questions. Does that make sense? So tonight's just kind of a hangout for them to talk with you, you to talk to them. If you'd like Pastor Mark and the other adults at any point in time to leave so you can talk candidly, we're happy to do that. We want to give you a chance to talk honestly and candidly about what does faith look like beyond confirmation. Make sense? So you guys want to start? Grace, why don't you tell them a little bit about...
Well, I had to write all this down because I knew that I'd probably forget a lot of it. And once I get down here to talk to you guys, I'd probably forget everything. So, I'm Grace Handelbrink. I'm a
I thought she
senior
was taking
at...
notes during the sermon.
Oh,
man! You just killed me, Grace!
Sorry. I'm a senior at Saxony this year. I'm almost graduating, and that is really scary, but it kind of makes me relatable to you guys. You guys can come get confirmed, go to 8th grade, and go to high school. And I'm going to graduate and go to college, so it's cool. I'm excited for it. Do we want to do introductions, or do you want to do...
Sure.
You guys...
Do introductions. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Okay. I'm Josh Vogel. I'm also a senior at Saxony, so we're kind of in the same boat.
Well, I'm Hayden. I'm only a sophomore, so I don't really know what they're going through exactly. But it's kind of weird to pick out like my classes for the next 2 years and try to decide where I'm going to go. So I guess I'm kind of on the same boat.
And that's why we're glad that Hayden's here, because me and Josh are both seniors, and then Hayden's a sophomore, so we're all kind of in different places in our lives right now, so that's kind of cool.
So what does faith look like in high school?
That's kind of a hard question. That's a hard question, honestly. It obviously isn't always easy to, like, you know, go to church and do all this stuff, because you start having plans, you start having friends, and like Saturday nights, you get busy, and then you wake up Sunday morning and you're like, I don't want to do anything, I just want to sleep. And your parents are always there, and they're like, oh yeah, you should go to church. And then, like, you get older, and they're not always going to be on you, like dogging you, like, hey, you need to go to church with us. So it's kind of getting to the point where you kind of have to take on a little bit of responsibility for yourself, and kind of get in the, not routine necessarily, but kind of, you know, making yourself go and wanting to go, really, because I'm kind of at that point where I was like, oh, I don't really want to go to church sometimes, and then I kind of just got in the routine, and it's what I do on Sunday mornings, you know. So I don't know. That's one of the things we were talking about. Me and Josh. Well, Lauren, he couldn't be here. He had drama practice, but he was talking about how it's kind of people say, oh, you know, if you go to Saxony, there's people who have really strong faith there, and you're going to be in a great place. And they sometimes think that, like, oh, like if you go to Central, you know, it's not Saxony, but that's not really true at all. Like, you guys probably heard like that kind of stuff before, and that's not really true at all. It's very stereotypical. There's people at Saxony who don't have great faith, and there's people at Central with super great faith, you know. So it's not really going to school. Where you go to school for high school is not. It doesn't depend on how good of a person you are, or how often you go to church or worship God or anything. It's not about that. It's just like continuing your education, because wherever you go, you'll find people that'll be kind of like you and where you're at. So.
Got two way in.
I'm going to say, I don't know if Mary, like Grace, she is a very fair person. regardless of where you go to high school, things will get a lot busier than grade school. All right, there's a lot more things to be involved in. There's a lot more distractions. Pastor John and Pastor Mark both talk a lot about identity and how our identity is solely based on Christ. It's really easy to get your identity wrapped up in something else, whether it's your grades, sports, relationships, talents, any of that. So, like, okay, the three of us go to Saxony, so we're at school encouraged to live out our faith, but it's still not given that it's easy. It's not necessarily easy. It's still a choice that you always have to make to live out your faith, because, as I said, high school is a lot busier. There's a lot more distractions.
Well, definitely don't get rid of praying. Like, always pray, because I mean, like, you'll always have like those classes that give you projects that are due around like the same day or like week or something, and you'll just be stressing out. So always pray like for that. And like, I know, like, 'cause I'm a sophomore, I just started driving, and like this morning it was really foggy, and pretty much every time I drive, I'm always just saying prayers like keep me safe on the road. But like this morning, it was really scary because it was just like fog everywhere, and I couldn't see, and it was really scary. So I mean, just always pray, and pray for the people around you also, because I mean, you might find someone at whatever high school you go to that you don't really like, but you should probably still pray, or you shouldn't probably, but you should pray for them, and just pray always and continuously. That's what I got.
In general, make time for God. Like for me, on the way to school and on the way home, I listen to Christian music, and even though that's not like a full-blown Bible study, that's still a really nice time to just kind of relax and focus on, you know, the reason I'm here is because of God. So that's definitely another thing that's pretty important, is make time for God and for your faith.
Oh, I went to PMT, which is peer ministry training, a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago or something, and I've learned a ton through that. There's two programs of it, and I went to the second one, and it was super helpful, and it helped me a lot. But one of the big things is find your opportunities to be a witness to people, because it's like Josh was saying, it's really easy to get wrapped up in like what you're doing and your schedule and how you're doing and stuff like that, and just kind of like make time to like make an effort to like smile at somebody or like say like, hey, how's your day going, because it makes a huge difference. And like that's I don't know, that's just another thing, is that just kind of find your way in and be like look for places where you could like insert God and be like telling them about how maybe, you know, it'd be cool if you could like come to church with me on Wednesday, and or like if they're going through a tough time, just be like, hey, I'll pray for you, and just, you know, leave it at that, you know. So just find your little places to kind of be a witness.
Well, I guess with a PMT, it was mainly about like including others. And at the beginning of the school year, there was this new kid that came in, and he didn't really know anybody, but me and a couple friends went to Camp Sunrise with him, so we never like got to see him until now. It was really cool. So we like come sit at us with lunch and stuff. So he does, and just really stick up for people also, because like just the other day, I think it was like yesterday or Monday or something, this like the lunch bell rang and everyone's like running, and that friend of mine that we just invited to sit with us, he's like, I guess obese, you know, and like I was like, hey, look at the fat kid run. I was like, he's my friend, don't talk to him like that. And so I mean, I hope that made an impact on him. But so just stick up for people and make new friends, obviously.
And find good Christian friends too. I mean, you don't have to just hang out with Christians. You can make friends with whoever you want, but surround yourself with people who will help build you up. And then also find good Christian role models. They don't necessarily have to be someone older than you. They can be people your same age or even younger than you, but find those people who make you a better person and help you build your faith.
How do you find those people?
Well, you just, I guess, have to see how they act, see what they say. Think to yourself, like, is this a person who I should try to be like? And would Jesus agree with me trying to emulate this person is? For instance, if we look at Pastor John, he is an upstanding individual who professes his faith. He, I don't think, has committed any major crimes. You know, he's a pretty friendly person. You know, so,
Not major crimes.
So, Pastor John would be a good role model. Pastor John would be a good role model. So, they don't have to be adults, but just find people that you can like.
Yeah, because like I know that there's a girl at my school, and she is a junior, and I consider her one of my role models because she's very like she hangs out with everyone, she makes everyone feel welcome, and she has a pretty strong faith, and I look up to her for that. But what I was gonna say was, when I was a freshman, I found this super tight group of people, and there's probably like 5 of us girls, and we were like best friends forever. And they started kind of like going a different way than I was going, and you know, it's kind of just like, it was kind of tough because I was focusing on like what I needed to do to live out my faith, and that's not necessarily what they were doing. And that was really hard for me because freshman, sophomore, and junior year, like that's who I was hanging out with, and they weren't really. That's not really what they wanted for their life, and so that was kind of tough. But it gave me the opportunity to kind of branch out and find more friends that are kind of in my same way of thinking. And there's a lot of great people at my school, actually, I found out, because I did not in such a small group of friends, so that was pretty cool. So just don't be afraid to kind of, if you find like a really tight group of friends, like that's cool, that's awesome, you know, go for that. But don't be afraid to like branch out a little bit, because if something would happen that you guys wouldn't be necessarily the best friends anymore, you know, it'd be okay, because you always have people that have your back.
What advice could you give them? Like, say your friends are going to do something and it's not something you would want to do. What could you say to those friends?
I always kind of took the easy way out. My mom, since I was young, has always said, if you don't want to do anything, you tell them that I would not let you. And so I kind of took the easy way out, but it would be probably more beneficial to them if I would have kind of been like, guys, I'm like, that's not really, I don't really think that's what God would want for us, and I don't really think there's nothing beneficial to what they were really doing, so it's not helping anyone to go out and do this, and just be honest and be like, that's not really what I want to do, and you know, I feel like that's okay, so that's what I'd probably say.
So Grace, you're about to go to college at, well, we both know what school you're going to. So let's pretend that you get there. It's kind of a similar parallel, and you make really close friends, and this cycle repeats itself. What would you do this time?
Well, at the very beginning, I would probably like get to know everybody as well as I would know like my super tight friends.
But I mean, what happens if you have super tight friends that live on your floor or whatever, which is obviously different than them in high school, but you have super tight friends and then they start doing things that aren't necessarily beneficial. And now you don't have the safety net, which by the way is an awesome safety net. If your mom and dad haven't given you that speech yet about blaming them for not doing things, go home and ask them to give you that speech. Go home and say, Mom and Dad, please tell me that you will be the ogre if I get in a bad situation. Because that is a great safety net to be able to say, my mom's kind of tough, or my dad's kind of... and your mom and dad will be happy to bear that weight for you.
I think what he's asking is like, okay, now that you're in college, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, what would you say then?
As opposed to when you were young.
Because in high school you use the mom bailout, which is fine. What would you say now? You just said
Mom's not there in college.
maybe it would be more advantageous if I had said something to them. What do you say now?
It'd probably push my boundaries a little bit. I don't know, honestly.
Well, that's a good thing for you to chew on. You fellas?
There's there's nothing wrong if someone's trying to pressure you to do something bad. You say, I don't think that's the best decision, and leave it at that. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be super like drawn out. You should be like, I just don't. Yeah. What was your answer for us? What were you thinking you were going to say?
There's no right answer, that's fine.
Just asking a question. It's all good. You guys have questions of them? Actually, you know what, let's hold them. I'm going to make we adults leave at some point and open this thing up. So, anything else you guys want to say with us here? No,
I have a question for each of for you three guys. What did you wish you remembered from confirmation? Or what do you remember? I'll ask it two ways. What do you remember from confirmation that you're really glad you did, and what do you wish you knew more about?
Did you get the phone? That's the first question.
Is your phone okay?
Got it?
Girls, we're not gonna go this one.
Yeah, there's one on the other side. You're surrounded by drinks.
Yeah, it's not all of them down.
I think she went to get some paper towels.
Yeah.
Hey, you get to go first.
Okay, so wait, what was it? What do you
Yeah.
wish you
What
knew?
do you remember from confirmation? You're like, you know what, that was
Yeah, you're
really
glad.
valuable. I'm glad we went over that in confirmation. And what do you? And by the way, be honest. So if the answer is nothing, that's fine. But let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then what do you wish that you maybe knew more about? Maybe you covered confirmation, you forgot. Maybe you didn't. Doesn't matter. But what do you wish you kind of had known?
Well, I'm thinking like the whole thing like with confirmation, you're confirming your faith. So, like that means you have to live it out for the rest of your life, which like has pretty much stuck with me because like you just have to like, constantly think of how to live out your faith. But then also, I guess like wish I knew more. I guess would also be living out your faith, like how to do that. And
So the practical side of things.
yes.
Any specific practical thing that you wish you knew? Like a certain situation that you're like, I wish I had someone to help me think through how to deal with this friend question or how to deal with, right? Is there any one of those things that's happened to you that you go, that would have been good to have been able to talk through ahead of time? The answer
I
no.
don't think so.
How to drive in the fog?
It is the struggle.
Well, see, my car is gray, so it blends in with everything. It was kind of scary, so I have to turn the lights.
Just know as much as you're praying, your mother's praying twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need those glow lights underneath them.
Yeah, I need lights everywhere.
Right?
I think the witness thing was really good because I found as a teenager it's really scary to witness people. It's really hard, or it was for me, to kind of just bring it back. So I thought that was really good. And I'm not saying it's easier maybe at private school, but it's probably brought up more maybe than it is at, well, definitely public schools because you're not supposed to bring it up, I guess. But so I mean, I think that was a good point.
By the way, that's a fallacy. You can bring up
Yeah, I
faith
mean-
all you want in a public school. Your teachers can't, but you can.
But I thought that was a really good point for you guys to make.
I remember when I was in confirmation, I had a big aha moment when we did the lesson that was because I, therefore you. And I mean, I won't say that's like the first time I understood the whole like works thing, how we do good works because of what Christ has done for us. It's not that Christ has done for us what he did because of our good works. Our works are the result of faith, not the other way around. So that was, I mean, I wouldn't say that's the most important thing because there's a lot of important stuff you talk about confirmation. Personally, that's one thing I remember that really just kind of hit me in the head with a 2x4.
That's that identity thing you talked about earlier. That's it, yeah.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well,
Oh, wait, finish your thought now.
and then what I wish I would have learned more on, I mean, there's always more stuff to learn. I don't think there's any one particular subject or matter, but just keep learning. I can't really think of anything specific for that. Sorry for the boring answer, but
Wasn't boring at all.
What were you gonna
This,
I was gonna say, for these guys, I didn't use that because they're for slide with these guys, okay? But for you all, for how we taught it I taught with you guys, is remember we talked about covenant Sinai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Covenant Sinai starts off how? Right? I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land. Remember this? Who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you'll have no other gods before me. What God is, who God is, what God has done, how we respond. Right? We also went to Ephesians 2, 8, 9, and 10. For it is by grace you've been saved through faith, out of yourselves a gift of God, not the works so no one can boast. Right? The next verse is, therefore you are God's workmanship. Okay? That's how we talk about with these guys. We necessarily use that slide. Okay? So translating how we approach that subject. Grace, sorry.
No, it's good. I would say that one of the things that I really helped on that was towards actually the end, whenever we got to like pick our Bible verses for our confirmation, because it made me kind of like, whenever I did mine, I didn't want to do like one that everyone had done, that I had heard like a ton of times, which is fine. You know, it's all good. They have to be good if they've been used a lot of times. So that's not bad. But I wanted to do one that's kind of different that I had never heard before. And so it kind of made me do a lot of like studying, honestly, of the Bible, and like figuring out which verse that like applied to me and that I wanted to use in my life and like use for my confirmation verse. And so that kind of made me dig a little deeper into the Bible. So I was happy with that.
what was the verse?
Hebrews 11 verses 1. Verse 1.
Verses 1.
Verse
Okay, for those of us who don't have Hebrews memorized, tell us what Hebrews 11:1 is.
Now, faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Which is a good one because I always struggle with that. So. Okay, and then...
Y'all are lucky, by the way, that you get to pick your confirmation verses, because I didn't when I was in confirmation.
Did you get
They just like assigned them.
Well, see, I think that's kind of cool
They
too,
said
though,
like,
because-
here's your verse, and I couldn't tell you what my confirmation verse was today. I could not tell you what it was. I have no idea. It meant nothing to me. It was assigned to me, and it was like, oh, great.
But I
Cool.
think that would
Like,
be kind of
you
cool.
put me in a spreadsheet or something. I don't know how this works.
Well, no, because like I feel like that, didn't you, if somebody was like couldn't like figure out theirs, didn't you come up with one for them?
Yes.
Well, that's cool, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
better than, like, I'm convinced that my pastor at the time just like put all of our names in a hat and like pulled one hat had our names and one hat had a list of Bible verses. And
Yeah, they had to stack the Bible verses that were available that came in the packet. And they just,
yeah, that's right. Alphabetic.
I got this one because my
don't know.
last name became Van, right?
And I even have a really cool wood plaque with it on there, and I couldn't tell you what it is. No idea. So.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing. Pick your Bible verses, pick your confirmation verse well because it sticks with you.
I don't mean to put you on the spot because I don't remember mine. So let's be clear. Do you guys remember yours? Dan, what is it?
Romans 8:38 and 39. For I am convinced neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
You had like a confirmation paragraph. That's awesome.
Mine was Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Yeah.
John 20.
That was yours?
Jesus says to Timothy, blessed are those who have not seen and have believed.
See, now I feel so like not pious because everyone remembers this except me.
I didn't get mine.
I remember mine. Mine is, just make it up.
Zedekiah. John 40.
That's cool. Very cool.
And then what was the next question?
What do you wish you knew had done?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of with Hayden on mine in that it would have been cool to like find like more practical ways or like ways that it could be used in my situation, make it more applicable to me. But there was a lot in confirmation that I learned that would have been way better than like learning what to do in a particular situation, because you learn a lot about like the technical stuff of like Jesus and the Bible, and because like what you guys were just talking about, what's it called?
Covenant.
Yeah, the covenant. No, well, yeah, the covenant. Like, I probably wouldn't know very much about that if I wouldn't have gone through confirmation, because you kind of just, it's not really something that you like study a whole lot, and we had a lot of things in confirmation that you don't like really get to learn in depth. So I would have said yes. You know, it would have been cool to have like learned ways to apply it to my life, but in the same way, I liked how like technical it was and how in depth we got into certain things, because I probably wouldn't know too much about it if I wouldn't have gone through confirmation. It's my answer.
Cool. Hey, Mark.
That's affirming because I taught all three of them. God, Grace, thank you.
You are all very blessed to have good confirmation teachers, by the way, and Mr. Jim and Pastor Mark. Any other adult questions? You want to throw anything on the table? You good?
No, I learned a lot too, because like I said, I was raised Baptist, so I learned a lot myself. Well, I have. It's a lot different than.
Would you like a confirmation verse? We could assign you one.
No, I'm good.
Pop up and put your name.
Open the Bible.
Yeah, just be like, that's it.
There you go.
25.
You'll get like Leviticus. Jesus, when you have a skin boil, right? You'll be like, wow, that's my
I can treat
confirmation.
it.
Cool. Adults, we're gonna let these guys chat for a bit. Cool. And you guys just hang out.
Okay.
Yep.
Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry, brother.
You want to
I haven't changed. I have like
You have to like.
Sunday. This is a fun hug.
You guys did not come up with that. Let's be real.
Yeah, I
We
did.
just talked about this music.
I want my hoodie.
Sure.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys. Of course.
Hey, Grace.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
It's coming.
Are you guys nervous?
I was freaking out.
I'm not nervous right now, but I feel like I will be holding.
Oh yeah, I was. But it's not. It's a huge deal and it's awesome, but it's not as big of a deal as you think it is. Like it's not super scary. Like it's pretty cool. So.
See, the thing was with me, it was really weird. I wasn't nervous for like my confirmation like day, but I was really nervous for First Communion. And I actually puked. I puked right. Yeah, not like on like the altar or anything. Like I went and puked and came back and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Oh, that's an awesome
It was
story.
weird.
And
I
I
know.
really like
My mom. Okay. Mom, another story. Like I was getting really hot. I'm like, Mom, I just need to get a drink of water. And she's like, no, you can't do it. And I was like, Mom. She's like, okay, fine. So like I left, and then like I was like, oh gosh, I actually have to puke, and then I puked. Okay.
So hopefully that doesn't have to be.
Right.
No,
Right.
because we get it.
It's Tyson.
Where is he at?
It's Kyle. He's in there.
He's
in the bathroom.
Oh.
Story.
I didn't even notice he was gone.
I would have run into that story. Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, but you guys have done First Communion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
Oh,
you don't even worry about cleaning. Let's see, how did all your essays go? How are you feeling about your essays, really? No, not really? Why? Me neither.
I can think of it, I just can't think of
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It takes. I mean, I just had to like literally sit down and like make myself focus and like block out everything else. I was like, I literally have to get this done because it was probably due the next day and I probably hadn't done any of it. So, but it's not. It'll come to you. It'll be good.
Any of you guys nervous about giving the speech?
I like to go in like the middle because like when I was at my brother's confirmation, like it seemed that everyone zoned out in the middle and then like started getting interested at the end.
At the beginning.
You can say like random stuff.
Just remember that nobody's going to come to critique your speeches. Everybody's going to come to support you guys.
Yeah.
So you will go up to the podium, you will read your piece of paper, and it will mean something. You're not just like reading stuff. This is, what your faith means to you, but it's not like a huge undertaking, so.
And nobody knows what's on your paper, so if you add things or you leave off things or you like stumble over words, like nobody's gonna know.
For me, I just looked at my confirmation like friends because I knew them, so it wasn't really weird for me. So it was just, it was just natural. I was just yeah, talking to my friends. But that was crazy for me. Yes.
Do you guys have any questions? Because you guys don't really have the opportunity to ask us. It doesn't necessarily have to be about confirmation, it could be about high school.
Oh yeah,
it could
it
be
could be about
about
anything.
the St. Louis Cardinals, it could be about anything.
That's Josh's. That's Josh's area of expertise.
Sure.
Everything but Kansas.
So,
Yeah, do you guys have anything? Are you worried? Are you excited? What's everybody feeling? Nothing?
We're usually not this quiet.
Wow, thanks guys.
I think mainly whenever you're a freshman, just learn your role as a freshman
Yeah.
and not try to like be like, oh, I'm so big and macho. You
Yeah,
know?
because
It's
you
just-
do
it's
that,
like,
everyone's gonna get real annoyed with you
yeah,
real quick.
and you will not be like at all.
Like I did with Hayden.
Ever.
I'm just kidding. You're not annoying.
Yeah. So just
And do, like, it sounds super cheesy, but do, like, all the things that you want to do because, or, like, join, like, clubs and do stuff because I did swimming my junior year. I didn't do it freshman or sophomore year, but I started my junior year and I loved it. And I probably would have done it my freshman year if I would have, like, the reason I did it was really shallow is because I didn't know anybody on the team, and so I just was worried about it, and so I didn't do it. So it's kind of a stupid reason, but I would have done it freshman and sophomore year if I would have known how much I liked it. So do all the stuff that you don't think that you would like, and like I was never a drama person, but like Josh is good at drama. My cousin Josh Varn, and he loves drama. So it's just kind of get out of your comfort zone and see what you like. Really fun.
yeah, you'll make some of the best friends that you make in high school and extracurricular activities, because like, there's a difference between like, okay, Hayden and I are in language class, and we're learning about some boring Shakespeare thing, and there's a difference between that, and then Hayden and I are both on the track team, so we run together. That is a good bonding experience, going through pain and suffering, you know. So, and Grace also does track, and she's a pretty good runner, and that's been a nice opportunity for us to hang out, and you know. Okay, I'm bringing this up because Grace is being a little bit slow and getting back to track practice. She will. So, yeah, so in high school, get involved because not only is it fun, but you make friends, something to put on your resume, you have something to do, all that kind of stuff.
And like cross country, got over and we do cross country in the fall. And then just like a couple weeks ago, we all went to go see that McFarlane movie. It's about a big cross country team. So that was pretty cool because, I mean, we all just kind of put it together. We were like, hey, you guys want to go to this? And we all did. So it was really fun. It's not like, so it wasn't something that like the school organized or anything. Like we just kind of put it together just because we wanted to. So that was pretty fun.
was like 10 people.
Maybe 12. I don't know.
Yeah. Because like in extracurriculars, you really like, I guess like everyone that's on like a cross country team or something, like you're just family basically. And then you make really good friends.
And it's something that you guys have in common.
And if it's like cross country, you all dread it together.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
You guys, you complain about running, but you do it anyways because it's fun.
That's a good way to vent. I'm not saying that you should only do cross country to the negative parts.
Because you get to work point all the time.
All right, we'll poll the audience really quickly. How many of you guys are thinking about going to, say, Saxon? And how many of you guys are thinking about going to that's the Central Tigers? That's perfectly okay.
Oh yeah, no.
So, in high school, how many of you guys are interested in doing some kind of sport? Any sport?
Oh yeah, it's all of you guys.
So everyone, really quickly, name a sport, and then we'll go through it that you are interested in.
Softball.
Softball,
Basketball.
basketball,
Basketball.
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 Swim?
Correct.
Track?
Basketball,
Basketball?
volleyball,
Football? Football?
baseball.
Baseball? Awesome. Cool. Are there any non-sport activities like music? Or
Drama,
That's a sport,
action.
that's all it is.
academic stuff? Or
Scholar Bowl.
Yeah, or yeah, scholar block and everything.
Yeah, me too.
anyone playing musical instrument? I know you do. I know you do.
I do, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna do it.
She thinks it's cool.
Awesome.
We don't anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we'll keep that on.
they're not schooling up anymore. I'm the only alto saxophone in this room.
Nuh-uh.
I know. Oh, forgot about you. I'm the only alto saxophone that goes to Trinity. What
Yeah.
about Caleb?
Well, he's not a certified.
He's not in this room now,
Oh.
is he?
Well, you said it goes to Trinity.
In this room.
Oh, okay.
This
Confusion.
Well, Sarah used to play saxophone, right?
Yes, and she
And
was
But you guys all
I'm
live
like,
in
you
the-
moved up to the tenor. I'm like, of course.
I could never was that taken out of
I'm
my.
still Caleb's gonna move up to choir. That's what he said.
Everyone left.
Everyone.
Oh, you guys don't have like band or choir?
Yeah.
And all have to do both?
No.
I'm gonna
At
do
Saxony, you can do both.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
you
do
go on
both.
trips together.
Yeah, you can do art. You have to do an art credit to graduate anyway, so
Yeah.
Art
She done.
or music.
no, she likes art though.
Oh,
Didn't you say you like art? Yeah.
Oh, let's do it forever.
I will say,
Art
once
is
you
so sweet.
once you get to high school, you guys are going to pick a lot of your classes. Like it's actually in the first 2 years, a lot of them are already selected for you. But you do still have a few electives. At Central, I have no clue. I would assume you guys probably have even more classes to choose from. I would suggest three things, at least 3 things. Number 1 is challenge yourself. Don't like slack off. Number 2, have at least one fun class. Like nobody wants to go and have like 4 math classes in the morning and then 20 science classes in the afternoon.
We're talking about this.
Right? If you have 4 math classes in the morning, a music class, and then 20 science classes, that's a lot.
Oh, then you're good.
Then you're good. Okay. And then the third one is take stuff and explore your interests because, you know, if you guys might have an idea what you want to do when you grow up now, I guarantee it will change multiple times. I think back to when I was in grade school, I can't even remember what I wanted to be, but I do know that my future plans have changed like 5, 6, 7 times. I'm sure Grace would say the same thing. So don't just think like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. I have to do this and this and this and this, and try to plan out your entire life for that because things can change. Be flexible. And if something does change, don't get like upset or something.
Do any of you guys have any questions yet?
All right, I have one question for you guys. This is kind of monumental. How do you guys plan to continue living out your faith after confirmation? You guys can think about it. This is a tough question. Kind of important.
Go on missions.
Go on missions.
Continue in church.
That's a big one.
I mean, it's something that seems really simple, but sometimes it really is hard. Like, it's a struggle to get out of bed because nobody wants to go sometimes, but that's a big one. It's a good one.
That would probably be to go to youth group more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good volunteer things
Yeah.
for high schoolers only, so might as well take advantage of that.
You know, some churches, I would think, I'm kind of sure, you know, some people would think, you know, confirmation, that is the summit of your faith. You know, you've been baptized and gone to classes and then First Communion and now confirmation, you've reached the summit. That is not at all how it is, okay? Your faith journey is a continual, you know, journey, really from when you're born until when you die and go to heaven, and even then we'll probably continue to, you know, grow and all that kind of stuff. Don't let confirmation just be kind of a cliff, and then once you're done, you just quit. The journey doesn't stop here. In fact, you could even say it starts here, because like at St. Andrew, we do have a pretty active youth group and stuff, but it's not like anything you're super accountable for. I mean, you guys, if you guys don't show up to confirmation class, you know, pastors and all that kind of stuff, but once you guys are confirmed, that's all done. So it's really up to every individual one of you guys to stay involved in church, but just remember you're not always alone as well.
Yeah, you got a whole congregation of people backing you up all the time, you know. Like, you don't really know it, but these people pray for you guys all the time. Like, we pray for you guys all the time, like for our confirmation group, and we hope that you guys are getting something out of it. So you guys may not know, but you got a whole church backing you up, so don't worry about it. And what I was going to say about Josh's was, like, that you guys are, I would say it's definitely, this is kind of like your starting point, because this is kind of at the point where you start, like, making your faith your own, and, like, seeing what really works for you and how you witness to other people, and, you know, what you could really do to further God's kingdom, I guess you could say, in your own way, and how it's beneficial to other people, and what you do best. So it's kind of like a figuring out kind of what works good for you. So
Does that seem kind of daunting to any of you guys?
it still freaks me out a little bit.
I mean, just keep in mind, I mean, like I said, confirmation is a big deal, but if you think about it, a few months from now, you guys will be confirmed what all's going to change. You guys got a pat on the back and a certificate and stuff. You guys are still, you know, Christians and all that kind of deal. So, like I said, don't let confirmation be the summit of your faith journey. Let it just be a point on the route. So.
Yeah, because, like, I guess you would say, like, our youth goes to, like, big stuff and stuff like that. You know, like just like, what would you call those? Just trips? Just trips.
Yeah, it would be like a trip.
Because, I mean, like, a little trip. Like, we would take trips to, like, Florida or whatever to go to, like, a big, like, church camp, I guess you would call it. And, like, make something out of that. And don't just, like, go there and be like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. And then, like, when we get out, just be like, oh, waiting for next year to feel great and stuff. Don't always just, like, keep it going after you go to something like that.
Yeah, because we always come off of those and we're like, oh yeah, we're super excited about Jesus and all this cool stuff we can do, and then it's kind of like, you kind of get like, hi, I'm Jesus, and then like the next week you're just kind of back to where you're normally at. So try to make that an everyday part of your life.
And if you guys do have a chance, which you probably will, to go to the Passion Youth Gathering, then also big stuff, do it. It is a really good
It
experience.
was awesome taking communion with 25,000 other kids.
Dude, it's awesome. It's great. It's great. I loved it. I love both of those.
And the community thing is sanitary, by the way.
It's your word.
But like, that is a big faith-building experience for you, but it's also an experience you share with everybody else of it. So, I mean, it's not like, oh, I see Grace in the hallway, oh, you remember San Antonio? It's not like that. But if it comes up in conversation, that's something that we both went to. And that was a big faith-building experience for us. So, you know, it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good benefits from it. So. And it is really cool to be in a football stadium filled with people who are all Christians.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, and there's loud music, if you like that.
It's fun.
And beach balls.
Are you guys going to be old enough to go to the one-on-one?
I was gonna say, what, like, are you guys in 7th grade or 8th grade?
Seventh grade.
Okay.
Because next year we can go to big stuff. Like,
And when you're in 8th grade, you go to big stuff?
it's the summer before freshman year.
Oh, okay.
What about National Youth Committee? Because that's
What
next year.
do we go for school? Is that
What? Is that next year?
School.
That's the
I think
confirmation.
it was
That's
next
a
year. Because we went to big stuff last year.
Which
and
week?
then
What
this
is
year.
that?
So
Oh,
maybe
yeah, you're
we'll
right.
do it
It's the weekend after we get confirmed.
Because,
We're talking about your guys, yours too?
yeah, you just say.
No, everyone goes on the
Everyone
same
goes.
confirmation. It's a confirmation retreat.
Okay.
It's like all the teenager kids.
But junior high hated
Yeah, we all made it. Oh, the confirmation retreat is fun too. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. There's a dance there. Dance with guys dance with girls and girls dance with guys, because it seems like it's a huge deal when everyone's there, but it's so fun if you just make it fun. Because like, it's one of those dances where everyone just like stands around and like talks to people and like it's so boring. So people will be like, oh, you want to dance? Don't say no. Don't say no. That's what I'm gonna say to you. Don't say no. It's really fun.
The same when you go to that, like Ranch Academy show. When I was in 7th grade, I was a lot quieter, more reserved, and a lot less like talking to people as I am now. So when I went to the confirmation, like it was cool. Like I didn't really like put forth a lot of energy in meeting people, you know. So if I could go back now, I think I would get a lot more out of it. Which I can't really do that, but take advantage of that opportunity. And then I believe we were just talking. You guys are old enough to go to National Gathering, so that'll be fun. New Orleans is a fun city.
We don't do
You can be those young people.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just saying. So. And we're talking about like big trips and stuff. Also, just look for ways that you can be involved in your faith in your everyday life. I mean, like I said, make time for God.
Like I know Saxony has small groups, and like that's pretty. People don't really. I feel like we don't really take advantage of it as well as we should because, I mean, there's not really a lot of great discussion in there. But it's only like 20 minutes, so you can't really get a lot out of it. But it's really. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice way to start off your day with a devotion and your little small group of people that you know, and so it's. I mean, that's a good thing too. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays we only have chapel, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So those are good ways to start off your day.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
How many of you guys thought that confirmation was a smidgen boring? I did a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like looking back on it, I got a lot out of it, but when I was there, I didn't really like it. Like going through classes and stuff, but it was beneficial to me. I just didn't realize it at the time.
Well, I think some of the stuff you learn, you'll come to appreciate even more once you get older. Just saying. Because you'll be in high school or whatever, and you'll think like, oh yeah, we did talk about that confirmation class. So it was actually purposeful. So.
I didn't like the confirmation at
Trinity? Yeah.
They're like way behind us too.
I know, exactly. Like you would go over it.
Yeah.
like,
Sam
this
was
week, and then-
spitting off answers. Like he was like, "What's this?" It was like
It's really
I
know them all.
this year. Like we learned all new stuff last year.
Yeah, like
He's like,
we learned thing last year that we learned like yesterday. And the confirmation. I was like,
and then they're relearning it or something. And we're like,
confirmation.
It's so
But
and it's not like yours.
And there should be a head of us.
You just tell me something's right.
yeah, he just tells me it's right. But it's time when it's fun when Ty and Mr. Brady kind of start.
Yeah, you can get them off subject a lot.
Also, don't draw on your workbook because one time somebody was drawing in their workbook and Pastor Brady got so mad and he's sitting around in the hallway, I'm pretty sure. So don't doodle in your workbook.
Oh, I do that all the time.
I do that all the time.
I do that in all my classes. I don't know what the notes.
Unless like the guy who doesn't have a mustache, I just thought.
You don't have to raise your hand. This isn't a real formal.
Well, okay, so we were talking about how like when we go to like trips and stuff, how like we come back like very like motivated. So like I remember that like with like the junior high retreat and like Camp Sunrise and stuff. So how do you guys think that like you keep that motivation going?
That's a hard one. Like if you go to school with the people that were on the trip, I mean it's a little bit easier. Like we went to I went to PMT with Jacob Ochterberg, a kid who goes to our school right now, and like we talk about it some, and it helps if you have people who went with you that are like if you're surrounded by those people who went with you because you guys talk about it more often, and I feel like you get excited about it. But it's a hard one.
Well, last year we had big stuff, and there's a thing where you could like support a child in Africa, I guess it was, and me and a group of friends were gonna do that. We're like, yeah, let's do that, and then so like, I guess we didn't actually end up doing it because it costs a lot, but I mean, and then we also just kind of forgot about it. But if you actually do those things, you can stay motivated that way, I guess, and take advantage of this.
I also kind of remember right here, because like a big stuff, like the theme of the camp was a story and how we should try to be a part of God's story rather than our own. And of course it's in Panama City, Florida, so it's a nice, pristine, white, sandy beach and all that. So go there for the right reasons. I mean, the beach was fun, it was amazing. It was my first time spending a lot of time on the beach. So enjoy that part, but also remember you're going to get a lot more out of, paying attention to the message they're trying to convey rather than building sandcastles and going swimming and stuff like that. So.
And like when you meet new people and stuff like that, and you like get people's numbers, you get people's like emails, I guess, and you can follow on Instagram and Facebook and all this cool stuff. But anyways, that helps you a lot too, because I'll wake up or like I'll go to bed or like I'll like go throughout my day or whatever, and I'll get like little Bible verses from people who've been there, and they just like shoot me a text and they're like, hey, how's your day going? And so that's kind of nice too. It kind of gets you, like, it reminds you of what it was and what you guys did and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool too. So instead of like receiving a text message, you could like send them out.
I remember at the beginning of confirmation last year, we all like didn't know each other that well. And we went on the junior high retreat, some of us did, and after that we all got really close.
Yeah.
A lot of funny stuff happened.
When you couldn't find your phone and you would freak out, and it turns out it was just in the room of
That was my fault.
Jade got slapped with a chicken.
And then it ended up in Peyton's pie.
I have no idea.
I think it's 6:30, right?
No, it's 6:30, right?
Yeah,
No,
six.
Six.
But normally
it's
it's
6:01.
That's when you know that
Cousins too.
It's already 6:01.
Are they gonna need to say anything? Are they gonna come back in?
I don't think so.
They probably
I think I have to one of them has to do church.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You might need to go.
I think I need to go. I have practice at 6. Well, it's 6:01.
Well, you know,
Oh, wow.
you might be able to.
Bye,
Tyson.
And I'm going to have to bail on you guys too, because I'm going to 6:30 church and I would like to eat first.
Oh yeah, good.
So, thank you all for coming to this class you had to come to. I hope that what we talked about was pretty helpful. And you guys probably see me in church on Sundays. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about, feel free to contact me. Or I'm sure there's your hand. And Hayden does not bite on Sundays.
On Sundays.
So, there you go. Thank you all for letting me come in. You guys are staying, so. All right. Adios, everyone.
Probably.
I know, like,
Come on.
Wait, you're going to late. Wait. Okay, there you go.
So what's the hot gossip in the 7th grade? What's going on?
Nothing.
The musical at my school.
When do we?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what, do they normally get out, like, they've been saying like 6:15, 6:30?
6:15.
Oh, video.
No, we used to go pick up my brother because his car is broken, so. And he's 20, so I'm bet he's not broken.
I would have liked to know my lesson.
Oh, what's that?
We were just about to talk about.
What's that gossip?
Oh,
I think
Anything else
that's the
about it?
musical.
What musical are you guys doing?
Joseph and the Amazing Colors.
I don't think you want to know
We're
about it.
doing Annie at Sam's.
They're going to the rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
We
Wow.
just did a science. Yesterday was the science fair.
Yeah. I got first place in engineering. I was so, and I got
That was surprising. You beat Etty.
Yeah, you
Soto. She got second and I got first. And I got nominated to go
But
to
she
a higher
said-
competition.
She said that the judges were just like, when she was explaining
Yes,
it,
they
they were
understand.
confused.
I was so nervous during the science fair. I probably stuttered over my words so badly.
I didn't care.
Well,
I forgot to put my
Who cares?
hypothesis on
I have to say the
I
judges,
mean,
they were
it was
super
already
rude.
graded.
The
Oh,
SEMA students, so a kid in our class is named Jack, and one of the SEMA students he was a judge, and he gave Jack a paper clip, and he said, here you go, this is the only thing you'll be winning today.
Josh finally made that.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
what?
Yeah, they had that said that to us in our class, and they were just like super rude in general. Like they kept asking, like at least me, like, "Where's your background research?" and like things like that aren't even supposed to be on your.
You're like, I'm in 7th grade. I don't do that.
Yeah, and you're like,
What is this background research that you speak of?
yeah.
I know nothing about this.
I never got
We have to learn about that in English. We need to do a history project in English. How does that make any sense? How does that work?
That'd be cool.
What was like teaching you how to format it?
Josh finally made like a graphic doing that science fair.
Do what now, are you saying?
Josh finally made like a girlfriend, sort of. Whenever they did that, yeah.
Who was it?
I don't know, her name was Caroline.
Oh my gosh, stop. This is the most quiet voice in the world. It's just.
And she gave us
So
a
many
song,
people
like,
do
a
this.
song off of her board. He's like,
I
oh,
remember when we were there and somebody had a bounce ball from CC's Pizzeria.
I think kids in our room were kicking dimes.
And then they just bounced it out all the projects. And we went,
Okay, okay.
You know Tyler? So the people in our room were kicking dimes.
Tyler,
And he picked up the dime and kicked it, like punt kicked it, and it hit this girl square in the nose. And she was not happy.
At CC's, okay, so she,
Oh my gosh.
the old lady story. So all of the girls were practically in the bathroom, and Kalani turned off the light, but she turned it right back on, and there was an old lady.
oh my
And
god.
Sarah didn't see the light switch there, and it was motion sense,
Yeah.
so she covered it up, and the lights went off, and she's like, oh my gosh. And then the lady comes out, and she's like, you gotta watch, if I would have fell, I would have gotten a belt. What else
oh
my god.
We were all cracking up in the corner.
And then she was just staring at us like dead. When we came in.
sorry.
And she was like scary looking, she was pale and then she
Yeah, she was very
We were all like, so I did all that.
Yeah, she was.
She was like,
She was scary looking. She was pale.
Oh wait, I know Gus.
She was
Mrs.
like-
Utek is cutting her hair off.
Oh yeah!
Mrs. Utek.
she's a
She replaced Miss Meyer.
No,
Miss Meyer not teaching.
No, she
She
teaches
did
fourth.
4th grade.
Miss Utek is awful. Is she really? Her hair is just,
Well, she played basketball, so she's not.
like the top is greasy and the rest is like dry.
Yeah, it's like it's so greasy. The top is black and then the ends are like light.
Because she
light
bleaches
blonde.
it. And she doesn't bleach at this.
When she curls it, she curls it halfway and then straightens the rest.
Why?
It's like
No,
she
and like,
She's a
and like her hair started, her hair was like all burnt.
Today she was wearing Nike stocks.
Yeah. Stop trying
Well, it was sports day. I mean, she had to do something. I mean, she wore.
What are you?
Nationalism.
Is this your guys' national school?
No, we're making it up. Like we're making it up the last 3
Yeah, we
days.
did.
No, we had Monday and Tuesday, that was it.
See, we're making it up today. Like today's the.
Well, you should be glad you
What
didn't
is
have your
tomorrow?
thing.
No,
It
we
was
still have
like
to wear
dress
our
up like for your way you used to go to school. So like all the guys were gonna wear their warm-up shirts for basketball, and then Jason's gonna do his, and then Nathan's ripped when he put his on.
Jake's throwing this year in track, isn't he?
Yeah.
He apparently he like benches more than like Nathan Schneider. You guys don't know Nathan Schneider, but apparently he.
Well, he does the highest level, and he's just like.
Yeah, like he benched yesterday like 130.
He bounces it off the, like himself. He's
I
like,
know.
oh.
He thinks he's so cool, but. So that's cool. I didn't know he was into that kind of. I didn't know he was into that.
I don't know.
That's cool.
Well,
Alright, are you guys
Good.
okay? Does anybody want to pray? He asked me to pray, but no. You take yours. Okay. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for blessing me, and I guess as a whole church, with this confirmation group. They are a promising group of young kids, and I'm excited to see where confirmation and their life after confirmation takes them. Lord, bless them to wherever they go to school, whatever they end up doing throughout their lives, really, and to help them to keep you in mind all the time and be good witnesses for you. In your name I pray, amen.
Oh, sorry, I got really nervous. I said a lot of ums.